Yo, what is up gamers? My name is Russ. I am super excited to bring you this video. I believe that I have found a build that makes Venthyr Demon Hunter fun in Mythic Plus. Honestly guys, I am super hyped to bring you this one. I've been playing it all day on stream. I honestly couldn't get enough of it. Now I'll just quickly summarize it for you in a couple words, and that is First Blood, Venthyr, and Dark Glare. So yeah, I believe that I have actually found a good build that works in Mythic Plus, single target, AoE, cleave, everything like that, and we get to play Venthyr, so we don't have to fall behind or feel like we're, gimping the group or anything like that. And this build actually came to me when I was trying out Nadia with triple potency conduit and First Blood. By the way, if you'd like to see me play this build in a key, I will upload alongside this video just kind of a stream rip of me playing this one in a key. It won't be like a commentary over the top or anything like that. It'll just be like a live kind of like VOD rip, which I'll upload so you can see me talking about it as I go through. It's probably one of the first keys I played it where I was just mind blown with how awesome the build is. So you'll see me kind of like react and learn it and learn to love it in real time and see kind of like what happened. So if you would be interested in that, I'll leave a link to that down below and probably on screen for you now, maybe in the top right. But yeah, watch the rest of the video and then go watch that one. So I'll take you through the kind of conception of the build and how this came to be and how I came up with it. I think I've come up with this one. I haven't seen anyone anywhere talking about this one. So going forward, guys, we're going to call this one the JustRuss Gambler build. Okay, we're going to call it the Gambler build. You can put my name on it or just put Russ, the Russ build on it. Okay, we're going to get world famous off this one. Okay, this is my ticket to fame. So the conception of it is basically I was just looking for a way to make First Blood viable in Mythic Plus, your average day is a Venthyr Demon Hunter, right? And I was playing this build over here. We were looking at Fellblade, Demon Blaze, Glaive Tempest, First Blood, basically the Night Fae build, but as a Venthyr. So you'll notice that this is very similar to a video that I made quite a while ago now, a couple months, where I talked about Theatar and Draven playing First Blood Venthyr. Now, this is basically the same setup as I ran with Theatar, which I called the triple potency I-beam sync build, right? So we are running increased scrutiny, and essentially we're trying to line up every single I-beam with the Sinful brand. Now, previously I was playing Collective Anguish with this, so it would extend each brand to about 23 seconds-ish, and then we'd have 23 seconds of a brand and then about 7 seconds of downtime, and then the I-beam and brand would come off cooldown again, and then we could refresh that, right? So it's very consistent. Some people still play that build, but they have switched over to Nadia. So you can run a similar thing without Theatar, but with Nadia to take advantage of Thrill Seeker and Fatal Flaw. Now, these two abilities in the Soulbind tree are very good. Thrill Seeker is just going to constantly amp up, and then it's going to give us a bunch of haste, which obviously we love. And when that ends, it's going to give us Fatal Flaw for another 10 seconds, which is going to either give us crit or verse, both of which are very good stats for us. So there's just like nothing to dislike about the Nadia tree here, really. Plus you can run 3 potency conduits, so we can take Growing Inferno, we can take Dancing with Fate because we're going to be pressing First Blood, which means Blade Dance, Death Sweep on cooldown. And then we're also going to take Increased Scrutiny to, again, sync up or line up the I-beam and, the I-beam with every single Sinful brand, right? So I was playing it with these talents, and then I thought to try out with these talents, which I've seen a couple people running. Some people play Unbound, something like this. If they do play this build, I thought Glaive Tempest could be cool. Frees up, my Fell Rushes for moving again, and you kind of drown in Fury as well in this build, which is really awesome. So you do actually kind of have the Fury to use the Glaive Tempest, and I kind of was focusing on Cleave. If I'm going to be pressing Death Sweep a lot, that's capped at 5 targets. This build's really going to excel in like groups of like 4 or 5 targets, where Glaive Tempest pulls ahead of Unbound Chaos, and Death Sweep is obviously very strong, especially with the Dancing with Fate conduit. So I tried this for a few keys, and I thought, it feels pretty nice. This was with Collective Anguish, and I thought to myself, why not try this with Dark Glare? So I've been having a lot of fun with Dark Glare, doing my viewer raises on my stream every week, and I've been going for rank 1s and things like that. And once I noticed that once I got to around closing in on about like 1.2k haste, it started to feel really smooth with Dark Glare. I was getting a lot of resets. I was keeping up my Sinful brand almost all the time. I found a way to kind of make it consistent, and in the past I've not been the biggest fan of Dark Glare because it's inconsistent. I've always gone towards Collective Anguish, which I would still recommend for raids, by the way, especially progress raiding. So I thought to myself, what would be a cool way to make this a little bit more fun and a bit more RNG and, you know, kind of keep you interested in your moment by moment gameplay, right? And so I threw on Dark Glare for a couple keys, and honestly, almost instantly, it just kind of clicked into place. So Dark Glare, what I've noticed when I've been trying it in the raids is that it is giving me huge uptimes on meta. I think people think about Dark Glare and they're like, oh, I didn't extend my brand, that's really annoying. Or like if they get the proc, they're like, oh cool, my brand went even longer than it should have done, right? And like that is true, but it's also giving you every single time that you get that I-beam refresh, it's giving you another 8 seconds of metamorphosis in your demonic window, right? And I've noticed I have a kill. I'll show you the log on screen now. I have a kill on the Jailer on normal, where I got rank 1 in the world, and I have a 98% uptime on meta, and it's like a 6-minute kill or something, 5 or 6 minutes I think it is. It's crazy, and I remember looking at that log and going, 98%, that is crazy. So theoretically with Dark Glare, if you had good procs, could I have 100% uptime on meta? And I guess you could, right? So I thought increasing the uptime on meta through Dark Glare in Mythic Plus is going to mean that I can use Death Sweep more often. And using Death Sweep more often because it hits so freaking hard is going to be really awesome for not only the single target with First Blood, but also the cleave with the actual damage from Death Sweep. So I've been trying that out, and honestly, I've had really good results. I've been hitting up a lot of streets recently because I've been trying to farm that Codex trinket for, you know, for tank spec. Still no luck, by the way, 48 runs. And yeah, streets is like a good dungeon. I think the kind of dungeon where this build would excel. I think as well in like anything fortified fish, like you could absolutely get away with this. You can even get away with it on tyrannical. It is tyrannical as at the time of me recording this video. You could get away with it anywhere in, you know, any dungeon really. But I feel like it will really excel in dungeons like Theatre of Pain, in dungeons like Streets, stuff which has quite small pools, between like 3 to 6 mobs, maybe something like that. Quite often, it can still do great on AoE, and because, you know, especially when you save your meta. And the boss damage honestly has been pretty comparable to the Cycle of Hatred. Some people will think, what if you get, you know, kind of fucked on RNG with Dark Glare and no resets and stuff like that? I've found that even if that happens, you just lose your Sinful brand for a few seconds, and you just get to go again. And when, you know, over time, it does seem to even out with Dark Glare procs. Sometimes I get 4 or 5 back to back, and then my brand can go up to like 50 seconds plus, something like that. So, you know, then it's kind of like safe and okay. Then I can get off the boss and go do what I need to do, like let's say the postal room or something in Streets, because I've been doing loads of Streets. But I have noticed really that it kind of evens out with the whole, did I get Dark Glare proc? No. Okay, well, it can't extend my brand too much. Did I get Dark Glare proc? Yes, then my brand, you know, is free to go. And I'll show on screen for you while I'm doing this, hopefully a bunch of footage is playing, and also you know, like snapshots or kind of like breakdowns of my damage at the end of dungeon runs. I've done a couple like 17.5k streets runs. I've beaten a ton of warlocks, hunters, you know, everything. I've done 23k on the first boss in Theatre of Pain and stuff like that. So definitely competitive, I'd say. Like maybe not the best build. It probably doesn't edge out Cycle of Hatred, especially on Tyrannical with Dauntless Duelist, but like especially when you're looking for boss damage. But as an overall build, and what I've been looking for, a fun Venthyr build. It just has everything. The moment by moment gameplay is amazing. You get to press First Blood, you get to press Glaive Tempest. So during the windows from Encrypted, if you're killing the Dismantler, you're going to be spamming Death Sweep on every other global cooldown. You can spam like 2 to 3 Glaive Tempests in that window as well. And then the moment by moment gameplay as well, keeping you kind of hooked in, at least for me, is the and I'm not a gambling man, but the like potential to get Dark Glare procs is so awesome. And when you do get the proc, and it's like, and another one, and another one, and another one, and it just feels amazing. And then after you're finished doing all your I-beams, you're sat in meta for, you know, like 30 seconds or something, and you're just going Death Sweep, Death Sweep, Death Sweep, Death Sweep, Death Sweep. It feels amazing, honestly. Huge vouch for this build. As I said, we're calling it the Gambler build. So we're sitting here at the target dummies. Hopefully there's been an absolute bunch of footage playing on the screen as I've been explaining kind of like the thought process and how it all came to be. So now I'm just going to quickly take you through like a little bit of gameplay with it, I guess. I'm just going to do some live now. Obviously, this plays very, very similar to any other First Blood you've ever played. The only difference is that you're playing Dark Glare, and I believe even in Season 2 or maybe even 1, I think maybe Demon Hunters even played with Dark Glare, so you might even be, this might even be the kind of like bringing back some old memories for a few of you guys. But yeah, very, very similar to the usual kind of First Blood builds. Key points is basically make sure that your Blade Dancing or Death Sweeping on cooldown. That's basically your highest priority. Obviously, Immolation or on cooldown, and Glaive Tempest on cooldown as much as you can. That's like the kind of things. And of course, you know, the usual business, which is make sure that every single I-beam is being, you know, having at least 2 Death Sweeps inside of it. So you want to have Blade Dance or Death Sweep ready when you use your I-beam, so that the first global you use inside the I-beam is going to be a Death Sweep. Then you can do filler, whatever you need to do. You know, if you need to refresh your Immolation or throw down a Glaive Tempest, just use a Chaos Strike or generate some Fury. You should come out of every single I-beam with 100 Fury anyway, which is really, really nice with Blind Fury, which means that you're usually like kind of ready to go every time that you I-beam, especially when you have Dark Glare as well. What I do if I do get a Dark Glare proc is I weave Death Sweep in between my I-beams. So I'll I-beam, Death Sweep. If I got the proc, I'll I-beam again after the Death Sweep so that I can get that Death Sweep going down, because this build is kind of all about just maximizing as much Death Sweeps as you possibly can. And then if you get resets on the I-beam, that's great because you get to stay in meta for longer, which of course means more Death Sweeps, right? So that's kind of like the general rules. And the only extra thing, because of the sync playstyle with increased scrutiny, lowering the cooldown on Sinful Brand, you'll notice that the cooldown on Sinful Brand is 34 seconds and the cooldown on I-beam is 30 seconds. This will not get lowered because you're not playing with Cycle of Hatred now. So every single time that I-beam does come off cooldown, you just need to wait a couple of seconds for Sinful Brand. If you didn't get any Dark Glare procs, you'll just have to wait 4 seconds in my case. If you did, then maybe by the time that your I-beam actually goes on cooldown, the Sinful Brand has ticked back down to 30 anyway. So all that said, I'll quickly just show you kind of what I mean. Feel free to slow this down, rewatch it back, listen to what I said again. I know I'm kind of speaking a bit quick. A lot of this again is covered in the other First Blood Venthyr video that I made, but I'm just kind of updating it, I guess, and kind of bringing it up to scratch with what I think is a much, much, much better build. So you're just going to be Immolation Auraing on cooldown, going in. Now before every single I-beam, I'm going to put up a Sinful Brand, then I'm going to I-beam, then I'm going to Death Sweep, and I'm going to throw down my Glaive Tempest and just do what I need to do and make sure that I can get a second Death Sweep into my I-beam. That's like your bread and butter. In that case, I didn't get any Dark Glare procs, so now I just carry on doing my business, making sure I Death Sweep on cooldown, making sure that I'm throwing down my Glaive Tempest, just building Fury, spending Fury, making sure I Blade Dance on cooldown, building Fury, spending Fury, building Fury, spending Fury. Now you notice that my I-beam's coming off cooldown. I can Blade Dance one more time here. I need to hold this one now because I-beam's going off. Just throw down this, Sinful Brand, I-beam, Death Sweep, we got a proc, I-beam again, spend a little bit, put Immolation up, Death Sweep, spending, and then you just carry on with your day. It's as simple as that. And basically all you're doing is chancing, you know, how many I-beam cooldowns you get, resets, sorry, and how long you get to sit in meta. It's really, really nice. I'll put on screen again, like loads of results of kind of like my meta uptimes, you know, my damage breakdowns. You can see that my Sinful Brand is doing very comparable damage, honestly, to how much, you know, damage I would be doing even if I played Cycle of Hatred. But you'll see that my Death Sweep damage is like super, super, super high compared to, you know, what it would usually be. So I'll show you kind of what a meta version with this of this would be with opener wise. So I'm going to run in. I'm just going to Trinket now because I can. I'm going to Sinful Brand, I-beam. I'm going to Death Sweep. I'm going to I-beam again. Okay, now it's stopped resetting. I'm going to throw down my meta. Death Sweep, I-beam again, and you're just going to keep I-beaming until it actually just goes fully on cooldown. Now you might think, shouldn't I spend my Fury between I-beams because of Blind Fury? You could do that, but honestly I think it's better to just keep I-beaming so that you can just go through all the procs that you're going to get, stack up all that meta uptime, and get I-beam actually on cooldown. You want that ability to be on cooldown, so that it can line up with your Sinful Brand. If you start delaying it all the time, then maybe your Sinful Brand is going to be, you know, you're going to have to wait for your I-beam to come up when your Sinful brand's ready, and you want to get that back on the target as soon as you can, because obviously a lot of your damage is still coming through that ability. So you don't want to desync them too much. Obviously you have about a 4-second to 5-second overlap where you could, you know, maybe spend a little bit of fury between I-beams. Personally, I don't do it because I'm just used to, on single target when I play Dark Glare with Cycle of Hatred, you just want to get that I-beam on cooldown so you can start cooling it down with Cycle of Hatred. So it is a little bit of habit with me. You probably could get away with 1 or 2 globals between your I-beams just to spend, but most of your damage isn't really coming from Annihilation in this build. So the only globals I would say maybe you could delay I-beam for if you get a reset is Death Sweep for sure. Like, definitely put that one before you I-beam again. Maybe Immolation Aura to get that one on cooldown, maybe a Glaive Tempest, but I would never do any Demon Spies or Chaos Strikes between I-beams. I would just want to get that one on cooldown. So again, Sinful brand up, I-beam, Death Sweep, do whatever you need to do. You know, I threw down a Glaive Tempest and Immolation Aura, second Death Sweep. That's like your standard I-beam window. You'll get about 15 seconds of brand, and then it will fall off, and it's fine if it falls off. It's okay. You won't get the Dark Glare procs every time, but you'll really like it when you do. Okay, so when you do get that, just keep on I-beaming, keep on I-beaming, keep on I-beaming, and honestly, I promise you, this build is so fun. We're calling it the Gambler build. All right, I'm calling it the Gambler build. I made it. Okay, I get to name it. So if I had to, you know, summarize what I think makes this build good and why I think it's good and why I think that you should play it and at least give it a go, is 4 reasons really. The first one being First Blood. Obviously, everybody loves to press Blade Dance. Everybody loves to press Death Sweep. It is a cool ability. It looks awesome. It does a bunch of damage. You know, on AoE, it gives us Cleave, which is something that Venthyr Demon Hunter has been lacking for quite a while now. And on top of that, you know, it can actually remain competitive in this build, which is awesome. Because we are running with Glaive Tempest as well, it frees us up from Unbound Chaos, which I think is bigger than it seems. You know, when we just take into consideration the numbers, you know, people argue with Glaive Tempest versus Unbound Chaos, but having the freedom to have our Fell Rushes back as, you know, an ability that we actually use for mobility to get from A to B, not having to think, you know, I want to be over there, but wait, do I have an Unbound Chaos? Oh wait, I haven't used that Unbound Chaos yet. Okay, I need to move over here. You know, it's just less confusing. You can just go back to, oh, I need to be here right now. I can just press Fell Rush, not have to worry about it. You always know that you're going to have some stacks of it because you're not really using it on cooldown or always using a stack for Unbound Chaos and things like that. I think that's really, really undervalued in this build. Thirdly, I do quite enjoy the RNG element of it. I do like seeing those metamorphoses uptimes get quite huge. You know, you can quite easily just get 1 or 2 I-beam resets in a pack, and then you've got a metamorphosis for, you know, 20 to 25 seconds or something. And that's most of the duration of a pack, which is really, really awesome. You can just be sitting there for an entire duration of a pack. Firstly, you know, that Sinful brand that you put on before you I-beamed is sat up at like 30 seconds or something. So it's doing a bunch of damage, the same as if you were, you know, playing Collective Anguish. You know, it does the same amount of damage no matter what legendary you're wearing. And on top of that, you're going to be sat in Metamorphosis for the entire duration of the pack, just spamming Death Sweep, which is going to feel amazing. You're going to be doing a bunch of damage to your priority target because of First Blood, and you're going to be doing a bunch of Cleave, and you're going to be feeling awesome. You're going to be, you know, topping damage while being in demon form. There's just nothing really to dislike about it. Obviously, it's RNG, but I do feel like it balances out over time. And the last thing I kind of want to touch on, which I actually had to come back and re-record this for because I kind of left it out, and I only really realized that after playing this for 2 entire days now, is that this build is so freeing, right? When we're playing Cycle of Hatred, we are basically attached to the boss at all times. We are attached to the mobs at all times. If we have to run away even for 2, 3, 4 seconds, we feel like, oh, that's 2, 3, 4 globals that we missed, right? And those globals could be used on, you know, a kind of Cycle of Hatred Fury generation machine, which is Demons buying Chaos Striking, Demons buying Chaos Striking, looking for those Cycle of Hatred procs to cool down that I-beam so that we can do it again and keep up our Sinful brands. Every global that we miss, or every time that we let a Sinful brand drop off, feels very, very, very suboptimal. With this spec, it's kind of expected that it does drop off, and you treat it more like a bonus if it doesn't. You treat it more like a bonus if you get the I-beam proc. And on top of that, the proc when you do get it is doing so much more than just extending your brand, as I talked about with the metamorphosis uptimes and the death sweeps, right? So this build kind of frees you from having to spend every single millisecond on the boss, and also those moments that you feel when you do have to go off the boss, be it for a mechanic or anything like that, where you just feel like you kind of got punched in the gut and you know, I really wish that mechanic didn't go on me because that screwed up my whole like log now, or that screwed up my whole pull, or this screwed up this, you know, this pack of trash for me. If the tank runs the mob away from you and you can't keep up, you know, like you just feel bad. And I don't like those feels bad moments. I feel like that's probably a lot of the, you know, feeling that people are having towards Venthyr Demon Hunter, why they don't like the Cycle Hatred spec, because you feel punished all the time that it doesn't go your way. Whereas this, I feel like, you know, I could have been in range of the boss, but it's like a slap on the wrist. It's not like a, you know, kick in the nuts, you know? And the difference I feel like is quite monumental. And I felt that over time now from playing this for a couple of days, that I just feel so freed, and I enjoy the characters so much more by playing this. So I very, very, very highly recommend that you do try out this build. Honestly, I couldn't recommend it enough. All right, so go try this one out. Honestly, it is so fun. I think it might have saved Venthyr Demon Hunter for me in Mythic Plus. Honestly, I haven't had this much fun with it in a very long time, actually, because I've just been stuck playing Cycle of Hatred. Let me know what you think of it. Ask me any questions down below. I got a few more videos on my channel about stuff like, well, everything Demon Hunter related, other builds like this, other builds different to this. Check them out. Feel free to subscribe. Make sure you like the video as well. If you're still here, then you must have really, really liked it, because I've been talking a little while, and I will upload alongside this video. I'll upload kind of just like a stream rip of some gameplay, me playing this build in the stream in a key. So it won't really be like me commentating over it, but I will just kind of be mentioning and doing like a live commentary as I'm playing the key. So if you want to see the gameplay, make sure that you check the link in the top right and down in the description down below, and hopefully it's on screen for you now. As always, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.